Hey guys, this was an exciting video to make. It was so much fun having a chat to Cabbage, Farplane and Ziggy. Just so you know, whenever a piece of art pops up on the screen, it's to preserve some anonymity. And I'm sorry I didn't show my face during the video, but just given my circumstances for now, I'd rather keep my face hidden. But maybe when we're a bit bigger, I'll start showing my face. Hope you enjoy it. So I'm with my first guest, Farplane. How you doing?
Doing pretty well. Yourself?
Excellent, excellent. So firstly, how did you get into Nier Reincarnation?
Okay, so oddly enough, I've never played any game from the Nier series. The game came out and looked incredible, but my background with gacha games is really what led me to it. My first gacha was Mobius Final Fantasy, which I was a hardcore player in, and was competitive in that game, and Dolphin in that game. And it broke my heart when it ended. And when it ended, Romancing Saga Re-Universe started up at the same time. So I kind of played that and went hardcore in that to kind of fill the void. And I still like that game, but I just can't stick with it anymore. A year later, Nier Reincarnation came out. I saw it. I saw that it, similarly to Mobius Final Fantasy, it had amazing graphics and just looked incredible. Started playing it and really liked the depth of the battle system and everything. And quickly decided that this game, especially with the top-notch storytelling, that this game deserved my my full attention, or it deserved to be my main game. So yeah, and playing Nier Reincarnation, has now made me interested in the main titles, but I haven't played them yet still.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Yeah, I'm one of the Nier fanboys who came over from Nier Replicant Automata. So it looks like we both got into the game through pretty different ways.
Right. Yeah, that was the hardest part about Mobius shutting down. A lot of people were saying like, oh, please make it an offline game. I just want to play, Yeah. And I'm over here thinking like, I don't want an offline version. I want my account.
Yeah, all the work you put in.
Yeah, that I put in hundreds or thousands of hours. I don't even know how many hours. Because over the years of going hardcore every day, where you're putting in grind sessions passively while you do other things, and you pretty much, you might be grinding 12 plus hours a day.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I thought it was a funny little comparison there. And I wonder if at the end of Nier Reincarnation, they'll do something similar. Yoko Taro is a bit of a wild card.
Yeah.
All right.
It'll end at some points. We just got to be ready for it. Hopefully it just has a nice long life.
Yeah, hopefully. Who's your favorite character in the game?
Okay, character. I guess I'll have to go with Noelle. I really like her look, her design, and the story is really cool. And Demos would be a close second. Demos just looks so cool. He's just such a cool character.
Yeah.
And I like his story too. I like how, he seems like this outlaw type, like bad guy if you look at him, but here he is, helping Rion, and like being, just being a really helpful, good guy.
Yeah, Demus is super cool. I'm a big fan of him as well.
I wish we could have like a new cool Demos soon, but it doesn't look like it because we already have Celeb Demos, and the next limited banner is Celeb, and we just got the Abyss Demos.
Yeah. So
there's really no reason for them to give us another Demos. I guess I just hope I get more dupes of my bloody Demos.
Yep. The cowboy Demus. The abyssal design was so cool for Demus. I think that has to be one of my favorite costumes in the game.
And he's all of a sudden he's like really buff and
yeah, super angry zombie looking.
Yeah.
And he's like kind of the archetypal Nier character. Like he's someone where they're like, what makes you human sort of thing, given his like machine sort of background. So he's a super interesting character to me too. But my favorite's Lavanya.
Nice.
All right. What's your favorite costume in the game?
Okay, so that one's a tough question, I think, for anyone. And it's going to be a layered question. So first of all, in terms of usefulness, and these are like the two most generic choices, but EX Lars and EX Lavanya I've gotten so many miles out of those two costumes, as I'm sure everyone else has. So it's really hard not to at least mention them. You know, like Lars is the first costume I got to hit the damage cap, and both of them are just so good in every single mode of the game. And it's you know, back when NEX costume could be overtuned, and now I think they've kind of dialed that back.
Yeah.
You know, in interest of wanting us to pull for limited costumes. So they, you know, they're still from that golden era of the EX costumes being the best in the game. And I do like both of them, how they look and everything. They look really cool. Lars's costume is really awesome, and Lavanya, I actually like Lavanya. Some weird like bug monster thing.
Yeah.
No, but it's cool. I like that they throw in non-humans here and there. Even if Priyat is this weird, like, big, goofy cat thing. Like,
I thought she looked like Mimikyu from Pokemon.
Yeah.
Almost
like
identical. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like a Moogle in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay, so then there's, like, costumes that just, like, I just like them because they're cool. And the two new EX, Marie and Yuri, are really awesome. So there are costumes that I'll put in either their skin or whatever, just so, like, if I'm doing, like, really easy farming, I just want to look at a cool costume, you know?
Yep. Marie's new costume is so cool. That has to be one of my favorite EX designs.
Yeah. So it's hard because I'll have a handful, but, you know, like Marie, Yuri, and 063Y EX costume is so cool. The power suit.
Yep, the Doom guy suit.
I actually really like 2P, and she was my first strong character. She was the one I kind of like focused on in my re-rolling, and she was my first 90. I'm also really liking Saryu lately, especially her celeb costume, or not celeb, her EX costume.
Yep.
And yeah, I guess that's already a lot, but I'll just sit for looks, you know. Just how the costume looks. I'll just, if I had to pick one, I'll say EX Marie. She looks awesome.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Mine has always been Bloody Lavanya ever since he came out. I just like his kind of berserker sort of aesthetic / playstyle.
Yeah.
And Bloody Saryu as well is one of my favorite costumes, just appearance wise. I think it's such a cool design. Wish he was a little more useful.
Yeah, I haven't pulled her yet.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it if you have Fractured Argo. He's just better in every way.
Yeah, I did manage to get him.
Yeah, he's so good. All right, what game mode have you enjoyed the most so far?
I'm just gonna go ahead and say Tower. I like Tower the best. It's you know, it's end game, and there's plenty of strategy, and there's, you know, you're actually playing the game. Like, you turn off the auto and have to click things in the right order, and you have to build your team very specifically and put a lot of thought into it, and it forces you to have a well-balanced roster. And compared to something like Subjugation, which I do appreciate and think it's cool, but I also just get really frustrated playing Subjugation.
Yeah, understandable.
There's just a ton of annoyance, and Arena can also be really annoying unless you're just trying to chill. But that final hour of the season, if you're trying to hold your top 50, it's, you know, you could be easily getting to top 10 for the entire season, in and out of top 10, hanging out in the top 30, and then that last hour, a rush. Especially last season, season 12, in my bracket, myself and a lot of people who comment on my channel kind of told the same story, that around 20 to 15 minutes left of the season, we all fell off a cliff.
Yep.
I blinked and dropped from rank 16 to 42.
Wow.
And then, you know, I won my next battle, but after I won it, it said, you know, that I went from 52 to 46.
Oh no.
Every battle I played, I had dipped below 50 while playing the battle and came back into the 40s. Man, the stress, it's just,
I'd never sort of vied for a top 100 spot before last season, except for maybe season 1 and 2. I was trying really hard in PvP then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked at the last hour rush. I went from 27th to 94th because I didn't play for the last 15 minutes, which was silly. I should have just had a little break. So I got destroyed.
You can't not do that.
So this season I'm going to try hard a bit more and see if I can stay in there.
I'm pretty sure you can stay in top 100 for sure. Just make sure you play the whole time, and then top 50 possible too, but you got to go hard.
Yeah. What did you think of the stray scarecrows out of interest, given that you like Tower?
Oh, they're pretty cool, except for the fire team. I'm really, my Rion and Priet are really underdeveloped.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of waiting to get a better Priet before I go and attempt it again.
Yeah.
I have that on a stream if you want to see me failing that battle on my streams.
I'll have to have a look. I really enjoyed that mode, yeah. Only really got around to doing it yesterday and surprised at how fun it was trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, so it's really close to Tower, isn't it? And we're getting a new mode that should be somewhat similar to Tower as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk that it might be like a mode where you use different costumes of the one character. So it's not been confirmed or denied, but I think that'd be pretty interesting.
Right.
All right. Are there any changes you'd like to see in the game?
Yeah, and I think the comments I have are what you see come up over and over, like better quality of life for memoir management and sorting options for memoirs. And like, I just got done clearing my gift box from the memoir bonus. It's been like 2 weeks. Like, it's such a slog going through. And like, now at least I have so many memoirs I can really be picky and only keep the ones that have crit rate and crit damage in the subs. It's a lot easier to say, okay, this one's good, and I'm deleting the rest.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm in a position where I have way too many locked that are just trash.
Yeah.
And they're stuck on teams here and there. So the idea of like hunting them all down, taking them off the team, going through all of the locked, like looking at every locked memoir and unlocking the ones I don't want, selling them, because my bank is like, you know, even when I do a round of deletes, I'm lucky to get down to like 600 or 700, you know. So
yeah.
It's brutal. The memoirs.
It's such a laborious process, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's the one part of the game that I just don't think is designed well in the first place. And a lot of gachas have something similar where it's like you're rolling for stats.
Yeah.
And so I get it. And that's the cool thing about memoirs is it really allows someone who wants to go really hard, it really allows them to stand out and be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, look at JP Bear's memoirs.
Yeah, they're insane.
Like, I watch those subjugation videos and I'm like, I didn't even know the substats went that high. Like, what?
My agility set is really lacking in Arena at the moment. My crit rate is terrible.
Yeah, I finally got some good ones on this last week of grinding memoirs that like, okay, I can at least up my game.
Yeah.
But I'm still not satisfied with my cooldown sets.
Yeah, I went for the cooldown sets during that most recent farming period. But yeah, I think too, like you mentioned sort of sorting and memoirs and stuff, I'd like to see a system in place where you can sort weapons by abilities, potentially. I think that'd just make, you know, things like Lucid Boon, for example, make equipping sub-slot weapons a lot easier. / deciding which weapons to sell a lot easier.
Yeah, and like memoirs being able to sort by the set bonus, like simple things that wouldn't be hard for them to implement. And yeah, like you say, with the weapons, I'm sure there's so much stuff I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. But
another one that comes to mind, which I won't go on about too much, is the map feature. It's just quite time consuming and laborious.
Yeah, I really want to get in there more and clear it all out, but oh my god, it takes forever. I'll do it on stream.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll only clear out a few maps. And one of my viewers like really knows the maps well, and they have gone through, and you can tell they've really gone through and spent time in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's cool. It's hard for me to find the time to do that. But you get like they say they're getting like advanced handbooks like crazy. And,
yeah, I got one yesterday actually. It was my first one ever.
Nice.
But now I have a random handbook that I can't do anything with.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of like annoys me too, is like having odd numbers.
Yeah. All right. Do you play any other gachas?
Yeah, I kind of just retired my Romancing Saga accounts. I have a global and a JP, and I was going hard on those for a while, and then I was just keeping up, like kind of weaned off of it. Like then I was doing just clearing the event to make sure I'm not missing any like limited weapons, and then it was like, okay, then I found myself not logging in for a week, and then now it's like I came back to it to try to kind of expand my channel repertoire. But then I just couldn't stay in it at that point. I realized this about myself. Like I have to go hard and put all of my effort into a gacha, or not, or just not even play it.
Yeah.
However, Octopath Champions of the Continent just came out, and the game is incredible. If you're into that sort of thing, it plays exactly like a 90s JRPG.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like you're playing Final Fantasy VI or something, and you can even walk around and go into the towns and walk into the shops, just like a classic RPG. And furthermore, the battle system in Octopath, even in the main title Octopath, it's awesome. It's like it's got the break mechanic, so that the battle is like super in-depth strategy. I like that mechanic because that's Mobius had that.
Yeah, I've played Octopath Traveler and I really enjoyed it. So I actually didn't know much about this game until someone mentioned it in the Discord, I think. So yeah, I could be super interested in that game.
The other cool thing about Octopath is that it works well for me as a second game because it's not super pay to win and it's not competitive.
Yep.
So you can play it casually. You don't have to obsess over a perfect reroll.
Yep. Yep.
And you
that's
play the game. You'll get what you need eventually, and
yeah, that's perfect for a second game, really. In terms of gachas, the only other one I play is Punishing Grey Raven, and once again, that's because of the Nier influence. It has a crossover with Nier Automata.
Oh,
but
nice.
The gameplay is awesome. It's really good. Very it's almost Kingdom Hearts / Nier Automata-esque.
Okay.
So it's right up my alley, but it doesn't have quite have the staying power, I would say, of Nier Reincarnation.
Yeah.
And
By the way, Octopath is also going to have a Nier collab.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
no. They get A2 and 2B as characters.
Oh, no. This isn't good for my for my time management.
It comes way later, but it's like it's this usual model where there's a JP version that's ahead of us by like I don't know, almost 2 years.
Do you play any other games outside of gachas?
Yeah, you know what? I love Metroidvanias. I think Hollow Knight's maybe the greatest game I've ever played.
Oh, it's an awesome game, isn't it?
Yeah. And I recently played a very similar game called Haiku the Robot, which is definitely has like many an homage to Hollow Knight.
Yep.
And then I've tried some others like Ender Lilies, and I like those because I'm a little older, and that's the exact style of game I played when I was a kid on the old 8-bit Nintendo. So,
lots of nostalgia value there.
Yeah, and I already have all those like
the mechanics down.
Exactly. Like that's 2D platformers are what I played for years as a kid, so it's already built into my fingers,
Have you played like Ori and the Will of the Wisps or Celeste or any of those?
That one definitely, yeah. Ori definitely deserves a mention. What a beautiful game.
Yeah.
I own both of the games, and I started playing Blind Forest.
Yeah. Yeah. Will of the Wisps is the sequel, isn't it? I still haven't played the sequel. I've only played Blind Forest.
And then I did play Celeste, and I got that before I ever got Hollow Knight, and started playing it, and I was like, okay, this game's cool, and I love the pixel graphics and everything, and I got kind of far, and then I discovered Hollow Knight, and played that, and it was just so much better. Hollow Knight became my main focus. Next thing I knew, I had like 80 hours in the game. And then when I went back to Celeste, I just couldn't play it anymore. Not because it like wasn't good enough, but the controls were really counterintuitive. Whereas Hollow Knight, very intuitive. Everything's the way you think it is, but in Celeste, I can't remember what the controls are, but it was really annoying to go back to Celeste. So unfortunately, but I watched. I'm on the subreddit and I watch people's gameplay, and it's frightening. Like, Endgame Celeste is frightening. Like I just watch it with my jaw all the way open. Like, how did you get through that stage? Like, what? Like that looks like it's all like the Path of Pain from Hollow Knight, you know?
The Celeste meta. What other sort of interests do you have outside of gaming and gachas? We can see the guitars and the piano in the back.
Yeah, so I'm a musician, professional musician, and that's what I do for income. Mostly I do instruction for income, but I have made income as a composer, as a performer, etc. And that's music is my life. That's all I do. So that's pretty cool. It's been a while now that music has been all that I do. I'm really grateful for that. Other than that, I love the mountains. I love hiking. I love skiing. Climbing, all of that stuff, just taking in the scenery. So huge passion for the mountains. And then just some other random stuff, like I've skateboarded my whole life. And and then I guess video games would be the other.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that sounds so fun. Sounds so different to where I'm from, where there's no snow and lots of sun.
Yeah.
But I do love the snow whenever I get the chance to go over there.
Luckily, no, I used to live in the Midwest where it would snow in the city and mess up your commute, and it was horrible.
Yeah, you never consider those things, do you? When you don't have the snow, how much of a hassle it can be cleaning out your driveway, etc.
Yeah, every winter it's like everyone forgets how to drive, and like it takes an extra hour to get to work, and yeah. But now I'm lucky enough to live in a place where it pretty much doesn't ever snow in the city. And when I want snow, I drive to it because the snow is at a certain elevation. It's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
In the American West. It's beautiful.
All right. And I guess lastly, what motivated you to start your channel?
So this is kind of weird. I just started, like... I always thought it'd be kind of cool, but for years, one, I didn't have the equipment set up, and two, just wasn't really in a place where I wanted to show my face and be like a personality. And I don't know. This year, I guess it was just one of my goals at the beginning of the year, and it was something I would talk about in passing, and just. One of those things like you talk about it, but are you ever going to do it kind of thing? Yeah. And I think it was late February where I'm like, all right, I'm just going to try it. And if it's horrible, if I get hates right away or rather, this was the more important thing to me. Can I watch my own video back and not cringe? You know what I mean?
I can totally relate. Yep.
And I would watch it back and be like, okay, it's not bad. It's not bad. There are some videos where I really I got to do a bunch of takes because I'll just mess up one little thing, and I can edit. Obviously, you saw my meme edit, but on my usual videos, I try to do it without editing. That way, it's just kind of like there's no extra work or exporting. If you know about editing, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the export to finish.
Yeah.
So I try to do them all in one take, and sometimes I'm like, oh god. Wait, I can't. I fumbled one word. I got to go back and do the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but sometimes I'll get it in the first try and be like, yeah, and it feels really awesome. And like I say, I watch it back and make sure that I'm not cringing at myself. Okay. And luckily, no, I haven't been in it long. Just whatever March. So what, 5 months or so I've been doing this, and luckily the toxicity has been at a it's been at a minimum. I've only gotten just a little bit, that I was able to shrug off and whatever.
Yeah, the community's been really nice.
Yeah, I know as I grow and as we all grow, we're gonna get it, more and more. But it's just inevitable.
Yeah, yeah.
So you gotta kind of grow that tougher skin and just kind of learn how to deal with it, shrug it off, and not carry it with you in your life, outside of.
Yeah, yeah.
Not online. Carry it throughout your day, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, mine, I'm sort of similar. Mine's completely a hobby channel for myself. which I want to keep it that way. I just love making videos, but I really like the editing part as well, which is kind of dorky, I suppose, but I
actually do enjoy the editing too.
Yeah.
When I do it, I really get in the zone, and it's like I use the same part of my brain that I use when I'm composing music.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
Yeah, it gives you a chance to sort of be a little bit creative. Even though my last few videos have all been quite easy / non-creative edits, but they were fun to put together anyway. Just like thinking about the game.
Say, as far as channel goals, I would like to keep going. It obviously makes more sense for me to just keep going casual like I am, and like you say, like kind of like a hobby. But I would like to get to a point where maybe this turns into something. Again, if I'm not turned off by the experience of it. But to be able to get to a point where it's side income, I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. I think like one of the biggest milestones would be hitting, I'm sure for the both of us would be hitting 500 subs so we can unlock that community tab.
Exactly. I keep talking about that. I'm like,
yeah,
tell your friends I'm trying to get to 500. And then I think it's 1,000 before you can get monetized.
Oh, is it? It is 1,000 for monetization. So
that's definitely 5 is the next goal for me, but 1,000 is definitely the goal. I think that'd be even if I'm making like $10 a year, or if it's nothing, I just think that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
get to that point,
Yeah, I'm just super keen to like try to have a community tab, because I feel like that just like will enable more communication with all the subs and everything, which would be super cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, it'd be really cool to be able to be like, hey, I'm going on stream later, or no stream today, but catch me tomorrow. And I can't, like, I'd have to make a video to give that small of an update,
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Alrighty, thanks so much for joining me for this. This was heaps of fun. And I will see you out on the arena battlefield, hey?
Sounds good, and thank you so much for the feature.
No worries at all.
To appear. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. And I'm with my second YouTuber, Ziggy1x Gaming. How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Just about to go to bed, actually.
Yeah, we are. We're on opposite ends of the world.
Yeah, you're just waking up, right?
I am just hitting the road because I pulled I crapped the bed last night and left my drone at home. So I'm actually racing home to grab it so I could go to my next job with it.
Oh, no. Well, thank you very much for joining me anyway.
Oh, absolutely. I'm on the road, so I got nothing better to do.
Perfect. Alrighty, let's get into it then. How did you initially get into Nier Reincarnation?
Well, okay, so I've got a soft spot for Nier Automata. I picked that up shortly after it came out and really enjoyed the game. Started getting a little bit more into all the nuance that went into it. The director, the writer, Yoko Taro, is an absolute legend and a bit of a troll, and I can appreciate that about a guy.
Yep. He is such a troll.
He is such a troll. But I appreciate the passion he puts into his projects. I appreciated what it spurred. And so when Nier Reincarnation was announced, first of all, I'm really dubious about mobile games. Mm-hmm. They're my preferred gaming mode because I'm on the road traveling so much for work, and I just realistically can't bring consoles with me. I don't want to go out and drop $2,000 on a nice gaming laptop. So I've got a phone with me. And also the wife would kill me. I mean, she just, there's no reason for me to be going out and spending that kind of money right now. We just got a house, and we've got kids going into school. We got another kid getting his driver's license soon. Into that. Anyways, getting back to your question, since I've completely derailed the topic, how did I get into Nier Reincarnation?
What we love.
Yeah, that's right. Because that's why my videos are all maybe sub 18 minutes, but mostly up to 30 minutes because I ramble. Just ask my wife. All right, so here is the answer to the question. The TLDR is I was playing a game called War of the Visions. I still am playing it, but I was playing it much more intensely than I am now.
Yeah.
And two of the YouTube streamers were saying, hey, we're going to try this out. And I was just so dubious. I was like, I just love my Nier experience so much. I don't want it to be ruined by this cheap cash grab mobile gotcha.
Yep.
And the images that I was seeing coming out of Japan didn't really impress me that much, because I was seeing it's hard to take a game in isolation like Nier when it is meant to be a narrative and a music driven story. And then, of course, you've got the beautiful elements of the character models and the battles and the tactics and everything else. But those were all things I couldn't see at the time. So when Orange A and Dr. Diggs were two of the guys who were really excited about Nier Reincarnation, and these were two of the streamers who were doing more of the visions. And I actually held off because I was like, you know what? I don't have time to play another gacha. I'm just going to kind of see what other people are doing. And then they started streaming their gameplay of the game. And I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
First of all, I saw
awesome.
that it's awesome. And I saw the model for 2B and I said, I got to try this out because 2B is kind of a thing for me. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to give this a shot. So I waited an entire week after the game launched, and I finally did the reroll marathon. I only had to reroll my account like 5 times before I got 2B, A2, and 9S. And I was playing it in tandem with a friend, and he was getting pissed off at me because I was getting all the characters he wanted. And of course, that just spurs me on because we've known each other since we were wee lads, and we are super competitive. So of course, I got to rub his nose in it. Anyways, it just kept me playing. And when I started getting into, the first thing I noticed was, wow, all the elements of this game taken in isolation don't seem that impressive, but when put together, really, really, really creates quite a beautiful production. The story was not hamstrung. It was mature, but it wasn't mature. It required a little bit of thought. It also required a little bit of real world experience to just appreciate how in depth some of the stories went. And I enjoy that. I still enjoy that about the game. And I'm sure there's some other questions you're going to ask me where I'll be able to dive into that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to shut up. You sir, go on.
Well, you're totally right when you say like all the pieces add together in Nier Automata. It's like the perfect combo, like a perfect burger. You know, all the pieces are important.
It's a perfect smash burger with perfect American cheese and onions.
I got into the game in a very similar way, actually. I was saying to Farplane, I came from Automata and Replicant with a minimal background in gacha games. I'd only played the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross gacha game because I love Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's kind of the way I pick my gachas. I just find the games I like and play the gachas of them. All right. Who's your favorite character
I like
in the game?
Well, I think we already touched on that a little bit. So, okay. Now, so 2B is always going to be towards the top of the list just because it's 2B. But this question I had to think about a little bit. And you know what? Sometimes art imitates life. And I will give you my favorite character, which has changed over time, but I'll give you my favorite character and my least favorite character to juxtapose the point.
Perfect.
Let's start with my least favorite character.
Wait, can I predict who it's going to be?
I bet you can.
Is it Argo?
It's Argo.
Yes.
Do you know why Argo is my least favorite character?
Is it because he's a bad father?
He's a terrible father. He's a terrible husband. He's a selfish, self-serving jackhole. Anyways, Argo is my least favorite character. Can you, in any way, shape, or form, predict who my favorite character is going to be? Just juxtaposing it to Argo.
Oh, jeez. I'm trying to think of like who's the most selfless character in the game.
I know, right?
Maybe Demas.
And Demas is an amazing character in the sense that he's not even really a character because he's kind of a robot.
Yeah.
But anyways, he's good because he's loyal and because he shows the humanity in the creation. It's kind of cool, but it's going to be what is it?
063Y. Of course. How did I not think of him?
I'm sorry. F6. No, yeah, 063Y. It is 0. Okay, Mocha Joe. There's a reason why I call him Mocha Joe, and the reason why I call F66X Vanilla Jane. I can never get the numbers right. It's Mocha Joe. It's Mocha Joe, and I'll
Of
tell you why.
course.
And I'm just going to keep calling him Mocha Joe for the purposes of this conversation because I'm gonna completely goof the other stuff. The reason why is because, and this is what tipped it for me. The record vestige of Paradise, Mocha Joe. He's not just a good dad, but he's also a beast, and he's just an all around beefy dude. Again.
He definitely hits the gym.
He hits the gym hard. So he gets to the point where it's just the two of them, and then they go up to the computer and they present themselves to the computer, ready to go into the shelter, and the computer says only 2 can enter. And immediately Mocha Joe realizes, oh my gosh, my wife is pregnant. And he, in that moment, takes his own life so that his wife can go into the shelter with their child.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh my gosh.
I'd forgotten about that story. Yeah, I do remember reading that and being like, damn, that is a very Nier ending to a story.
It's a very Nier ending. It has the thing with Nier is that it has an element of nihilism to it. And
Mm-hmm.
there is parts of that we can appreciate just kind of as an outside observer. It's not a way I want to live my life, but I also can appreciate the narrative that it can form. This was a very unnihilistic approach to a story where it was basically just a dude doing what he thought was best for his family. I was just like, wow. I mean, like, holy moly, props to the man, the props to the storytellers for going there. And they've gone to some dark places with the story, but that was a place where you just don't see typically in gacha games for one, because they're meant to be they're meant to be
digestible,
as accessible
right?
as possible. Yes.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, mine's Lavania. I won't go too much into why, but I really like Lavania's story. Especially his EX story, which kind of changes his whole outlook, I suppose, or his whole
really does.
background. Yeah. And his designs are super cool.
Oh my gosh, they're so cool.
I like how free they are with Lavania's designs. Like, they're not like constrained to his initial appearance. Like, they really go and get really creative with him, which is kind of cool.
They do, and every single costume has a different flair to it. And it's almost because he's a monster that they felt like they had carte blanche to just do whatever they wanted with it.
Yeah. And now that we're talking about costumes, what's your favorite costume? Mm-hmm. Either aesthetically or gameplay wise, it doesn't matter.
Boy, okay, so aesthetically, I'm of the Final Fantasy IV era, when Dark Knights roamed and Dragoons roamed,
mm-hmm.
and White Mages roamed. And so you can probably guess that Final Fantasy XIV was, as far as the costumes went, my favorite collaboration, just purely on an aesthetic level. Dark Knight Mocha Joe is arguably the coolest costume I've ever seen in this game.
Yeah, he looks so cool.
He looks so cool. Dragoon Noel, I've always had a soft spot for Dragoons. Again, Final Fantasy IV was what launched me into all this. If you want to say what the gateway drug was, it was Final Fantasy IV. And so Dragoon Noel, love that costume too. Even Rion, who I don't use very much, love his White Mage costume because, again, it's a throwback to kind of that old school Final Fantasy vibe. All of the celebratory costumes are amazing looking. Probably, this is a tough one because I really do love the Mocha Joe costume. It still may be 2B. It still may be 2B's 4-star costume. That is, when I saw that on the banner and I started seeing people in gameplay with the animations and everything, I said, that is just the coolest. Like, I mean, it's a hot costume, but it's just a
the animations are sick. Yeah, the animations are so clean on that outfit too.
They are so smooth. And so it was my favorite when the game started. It still actually may be my favorite, is just the OG 4-star 2B costume.
My favorite costume is Bloody Lavania. I just love his whole berserker aesthetic and the way when he's at low health, he just, all of a sudden, all of his character skills are hitting the damage cap in subjugation. It's wild.
It's amazing.
And then my other one, aesthetically, even though she's probably the best support character in the game, is Christmas Akeha. I think that has to be that is such a sick outfit. And
You know, there's
I'm
temptations right now in this current banner for me. I'm holding strong right now. But
Well,
there are temptations.
I'm about to twist your arm because I did 2 copium pulls this morning and I got her. So I'm in a really good mood.
Well, congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Because I needed her. My channel revolves around subjugation, so you know I needed her.
You know, it really has been just a one-to-one props on the content you've been releasing for subjugation. There was a time, once upon a time, that I really considered diving a little bit deeper into subjugation.
Mhm.
I have shelved all of those desires because you pretty much do everything that I wanted to do about 50 times better.
That.
It's okay. I will find my own dark corner of the community and talk a lot about nothing for 18 minutes at a time, while you actually, in somehow amazingly make a packed video with 9 minutes. So you just keep doing what you do. You do you, I'll do me.
I really appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words.
Yeah, those are great videos. I've been paying attention to those.
Cheers. And following on
absolutely.
from that, what game mode have you enjoyed the most so far?
Well, that's the funny thing. Subjugation has been one of my favorite game modes.
Mhm.
I just haven't had a ton of time to play it, and it really takes a lot of work. It's one of those things that when I get back from my my day in the office of the outdoors, I'm usually pretty much, I got to get my office work done, and then I kind of want to just sit back and
And
turn
relax.
on the auto and relax. Yeah, I turn
Yeah.
on the auto grind and just let it grind. Use some stamina. And building a subjugation team is not something I think about it. It's one of those things I think about every day.
Yeah.
When I think about Nier, what I'm going to do, and it's like, okay, well, when I get back into my room, I want to do this and this. Subjugation is always close to the top of that list. The second my butt hits the bed or the seat or whatever, or my head hits the pillow, I just look at it and say, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much been my subjugation for the last month and a half.
Well, when I do subjugation, this is such a bad habit. It's really unhealthy. So I'm already sleep deprived, given that I'm in my final year of med school. But I come home
I know,
after
wow.
placement and sit around for a bit, finally get the motivation to do it. And then when I finish my run, I look at the clock and it's like 3 a.m. and I'm like, why did I do that? If I had any family commitments, I'd be in huge trouble.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you sir. Well, you know what? You're still young.
Oh, it's awful.
You can bounce back.
I can.
I get really grumpy when I don't get enough sleep the next day.
Oh, I've accumulated a terrible sleep debt over the last 8 years of study. That's for sure.
Oh my goodness, I can't even imagine. My brother did med school, and some of the things I saw coming out of that were just horrifying.
Oh,
and I realized I didn't want to be a doctor. I realized that I'm not a big school guy anyways. I just like being out and doing things.
Yeah.
And I had to go back to school for what I'm doing. And after about year 1.5, I hated every minute of it. And I just couldn't wait to get out of there.
Mhm.
So
yeah, it's definitely not for everyone, and I can't say I've enjoyed every moment too. Well, funnily enough, my favorite game mode just changed recently, and I don't know if you could call this a game mode, but I've been loving the stray scarecrows. I thoroughly enjoyed every second of that. So I hope the new hard game mode that they're releasing is somewhat similar.
I'm looking forward to that as well. I did end up doing one of the stray scarecrows, and I didn't realize it was actually the new challenging content, but when it basically laid out my party for me, it was the Yuri scarecrow. Mm-hmm. And I already had a very strong Labania. I already had a very strong, what was the other character required?
It was Theo.
I can't remember. Okay, so I had a really strong Labania and a really strong Theo. Their mythic slab boards were almost complete. And it was a cakewalk, honestly. I walked in there and just blew it up, and I was like, okay. And then this isn't that bad. So I walked over to the Marie one, and then I got my butt because it was a bunch of characters that I don't use very often, or that I haven't done a ton with their mythic slab board. And I was just okay, there's the challenge. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm come back. I agree though. That's really interesting content. I will add as a just aside from the general grind, I really do enjoy just watching the character animations. And I'm one of those weirdos who will take it off 2x speed and just watch it at standard speed just to
Yeah.
watch the character animations. And while I'm driving, I can put that on in the background and just kind of glance over it. And I could leave that running for hours and never get bored of it. It is something that still to this day, I'm a year into playing this game, and I will just sit there and watch the character animations go for hours.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because during the Marie Stray Scarecrow thing, I realized how sick her animations are. They're really cool.
Oh yeah, they're beautiful. They're beautiful.
It's kind of like
yeah, they really are.
One of those twirly people at gymnastics. I don't know what that's called, but
Ballerina.
reminiscent of that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, prima ballerina, man.
All right. What changes, if any, would you like to see to the game?
The memoir system is much better than it was at launch, but still atrocious. It really is. And it's one of the systems that I think is actually dragging the game down to a degree. And this is where I'll be just a little bit critical. All props to the game for many, many reasons, but there are some streamlining things they could do, and I'll tell you how I would change it.
Mm-hmm.
I would implement a system that gave you checkboxes in the memoir menu, and what you would do is you would check what percentage crit you wanted, what percentage crit damage you wanted, where you wanted, if you wanted to focus on attack, defense, or HP, and things like that, and which memoir sets and agility and which memoir sets you wanted to pull from.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be a list of things, basically a sliding scale, whatever you do, and then you could select the memoir set at the bottom. And there would be many, many times where it would just say no options available, and that'd be fine if it gave you that error, basically saying no, you can't actually achieve this with the memoirs you have. And so that's where you'd go back and you'd adjust the slider, and maybe you'd make it 100% crit, but there'd be no requirements for crit damage. Okay, now we can make that.
Yeah, I think the slider idea is really good. Yeah.
It would be. And again, the biggest problem I run into is finding memoirs in sets that I want to use. And it actually makes me not even bother with using sets, except for under very specific circumstances. But if I could set a slider to 100% crit, or 99% crit, or 95% crit, and then 200% crit damage, because that's kind of my magic number. That's where I want it to be, because that's where I start to see the diminishing returns.
Yep.
Is after I go past 200% crit damage. If I could set just those two sliders, and then my memoir sets would populate onto my character automatically, that would save me 20 minutes every day of just trying to figure out which memoirs go onto a character for a given situation.
It is so time consuming, especially building subjugation teams where you have to apply 27 memoirs in total.
It would be a godsend for subjugation teams. It would actually make subjugation insanely more accessible.
Yeah, more palatable. Agreed. 100% agreed. And then, yeah, I don't know what changes I'd like to see other than some filters and some new game modes. Actually just thought of a new game mode when we were talking about the last one. It'd be cool if they limited stats in some way, like you can only have 18,000 attack, or you have a max crit rate of 40%. What are you going to do now? I think that'd be cool, if not frustrating. But yeah, I don't know.
It would be frustrating, but hey, filters.
Yeah. Or everyone holds an off-type weapon or something. I don't know. I thought that'd be sick. But yeah, filters is definitely needed.
It definitely is. Just as an aside, have you tried the new challenge yet? The 280,000?
Yeah. I had a quick try. I just had it with my farming team, and I got absolutely destroyed. So I'm going to have to rethink that one.
Okay, so I got absolutely destroyed, and I put it down and said, well, I'm not going to try this until I see someone else put out a guide for it. And then I looked at my phone, I said, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be the guy making a guide for this. Crap.
I saw JP Bear just nuked his way through it.
He nuked his way through it?
Yeah, and I saw his characters at half health, and I'm like, whenever JP Bear's characters are at half health, mine have died 4 times, so
oh, absolutely.
I'm going to have to find a different strat.
I tried the nuking. Okay, so Lars, I built a chain, just to put this in perspective, I built a chain of 10. Okay, so that's not impressive. But then I fired off my attack up companion, and then I fired off EX Lars's ultimate ability.
Mm-hmm.
It did a quarter. It took away a quarter of the boss's health bar.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, each of those hits are basically damage cap. And it took away a quarter of his health bar. This sucker has got so much freaking life. And I went, oh, burn, duh. So then I started applying a burn tactic. And I'll tell you what, last night, he was down to almost basically 1 HP. And then he did an AoE nuke and killed my party. And I was so frustrated because that was the only time I got that close to beating him. And it was basically with 2 healers and celebratory demios, just kind of bumping up the defense and dropping the enemy's attack because the enemy has a horrendous attack. But I was using the burn tactic where I just basically kept burn up on him continually while healing my guys continually. Almost got him.
Yeah.
So
it seems like one.
I'll try it again today.
That needs some stall tactics or that requires EX Griff. Just because he EX Griff is a beast for tower. He's probably the best tower / high difficulty content character. Do you play any other games or gachas?
What other gacha games I play? I started with Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Started playing it about 6 years ago. Love the game. A lot of great aspects to it. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, Nier fan, Full Metal Alchemist, all these other things, they've had collaborations with all those games. Still play it. Really enjoy it. War of the Visions was the second one I picked up, and that's a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. Still play it. Love it. But it, unfortunately, to a degree, took a bit of a side seat to Nier Reincarnation. I have really been enjoying Nier Reincarnation. I actually gave up playing another game that I was enjoying, Raid Shadow Legends, which is the giant meme on the internet when it comes to mobile games. It is the Chad Legends, and it's okay. It's meme worthy. It's great. It's a fun game for what it is. It actually has a surprising amount of depth in it as far as customizing your characters and tactics and whatnot. It's a good game. It's a solid game, but it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't scratch the same itch that Nier Reincarnation does. And surprisingly enough, they are very similar kinds of games. Except Nier Reincarnation is much more story driven. And that was one thing that Raid was definitely missing. It had next to no story.
Yeah.
And one of the things that always made my eyes roll so hard that they almost popped out of my head was whenever people were stumping for Raid Shadow Legends and saying it has this epic campaign story that lasts all of 15 minutes. And then once you're done with it, you're done with it. And there's no other story, and whatever. Anyway, so I enjoy stories in my games. I'm an old school RPG guy. When I pick up a game, I don't dive too much into other mobile games, even though some of them look really pretty and I have been tempted. Really, some of them look really good, and I have been seriously tempted. But at the end of the day, I'm the kind of guy that picked up Dark Souls 1 when it came out, and I still play Dark Souls 1 because I enjoy the game. And maybe one of these days, if I have time, or if I ever get a Steam Deck, or I ever get another laptop or something, I'll pick up Elden Ring because it looks amazing. And I love those games.
Awesome.
I love those games. Yeah, they're amazing. They're amazing games. All of them are.
If you like any of the Souls games, that game is going to blow your mind. It is.
I know it will.
I could not believe the verticality of the world. I was like, what? How am I still walking?
That's cool.
How has this not ended
when
yet?
I get the chance, it's something that I want to do. And the nice thing about those games is that they have such lasting staying power that I can play that game 10 years from now and it'll still be as enjoyable as if I played it on launch day.
Yeah.
So I don't pick up on a whole lot of mobile titles. I have to be very discriminating with my time. So my main game is Nier Reincarnation. Number 2 would be War of the Visions. Number 3 would be Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. And outside of that, I'm not really doing much.
Yeah, I only play 2 gachas myself, and I spend minimal time on my second game, which is Punishing Grey Raven, it's called.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's got a sort of similar vibe to. It's kind of hack and slashy in a way.
Yeah.
And it has a collaboration with Nier, which is what first got me into it. And I'd heard it was a
Hey.
good, not very time-consuming game, apart from the main story. Once you smash through the main story, like the grind is minimal. So I just log in every now and then. Don't play it overly seriously. Yeah, it was good fun though. Do you play games outside of mobile games at the moment?
Not a whole lot anymore.
Yeah.
The games that I play are usually with my son. And okay, so this technically counts because it's in my opinion, this and baseball cards are the predecessor to gacha games, Magic the Gathering. So
Oh yeah, yep.
I played it pretty hard in junior high and high school, my first couple years of high school. And then I started playing Dungeons and Dragons. And at that point, Magic kind of took a second place for me because there was so much more you could do in Dungeons and Dragons because it was the theater of your imagination. And I had a good group of friends that I played with that I had known most of my life. We still talk, and we even launched up another Dungeons and Dragons campaign a few years ago where we all jumped into it for about a year, and then we all kind of went our separate ways again.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of games that I enjoy most. If someone was to walk up to me right now from my hometown and say, "Hey, we're starting a D&D group. Do you want to be available every other weekend?" I'd say, "Sign me up."
Yeah.
That's how I feel about those games. But because my son is into Magic now, I gave him all of my old cards, which was pretty cool because there were some neat ones in there. He picked up a few new ones, and we built our own decks out of this, and we started playing with each other, and we started playing with his friends. So that's a fun thing that I do, and I noticed that I gravitate towards the games that my son enjoys playing now. So he enjoys Minecraft, so I picked up some Minecraft.
Yeah.
He enjoyed Terraria, so we played some Terraria.
He's got good
he
taste.
Got into He's got good taste, yeah. So we played some Call of Duty and a few other things, and I'm trying really hard to get him into some of the old RPGs that I used to enjoy, but he's just not a RPG kind of guy like I was. So, to each their own. I'm not gonna push my will upon him like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as I played Metroid, oh my gosh, the new Metroid game.
Oh yeah, what's that called? On Switch?
Yes, is it
Metroid Dread?
Dread.
That's
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I haven't played that yet.
So cool.
Any good?
Oh, it's so cool. Oh, it's great. It's if you enjoyed Super Metroid, this is going to be a shot of nostalgia with a lot of. It's Dread. When those cyborg things start coming, those robot things start coming after you.
I saw the trailer. I was
terrifying.
like, oh my goodness, I'm freaked out watching this.
Oh yeah, no, you feel very claustrophobic, and you have to find a way to get away from them because you can't fight them until you actually can fight them. So a part of the challenge is just escaping, and that's a very different way from the way I'm used to playing games. Usually, when I go into a situation, it's like, all right, it's do or die. I'm in. So, Dark Souls again is one that I'm always gonna go back to. Portal 2. Actually is my guilty pleasure. And that's
cool
on
game.
Steam. It's such a cool game. It's arguably one of my all-time favorites just because it is so easy to just jump into and start playing. You can just boot it up and play it for 15 minutes and enjoy the heck out of it. And it's quirky. It's got a great story. It's got great everything, great visuals. The puzzle aspect is fun. And so I've got this catalog of back games on my Steam library back when I used to do a lot of Steam. And those are kind of the games I dabble back into. But those are it's games that I've already played. It's games that I go back to and do the guilty pleasure thing on. I really haven't picked up any new games in many years. I think the most recent game I picked up was Metroid Dread. And before that, it was Nier Automata.
Yeah. Given those combos of games, whenever you get the time, I know you're short on time, but you should definitely try to play Hollow Knight.
What's it called?
Hollow Knight, it's called. HOLLOW? Knight.
Okay.
It's kind of like the Nier of Metroidvania style games.
Oh no!
Yeah.
That's another one of my old school favorites is Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Mhm.
That is a game that I will jump back into and play and lose track of time playing.
I hope I didn't just create a time sink for you.
I adore that game. Oh no!
Oh goodness.
All right,
me.
go on. All right, taking up too much time.
Yeah, we're nearly done. What actually motivated
Okay.
you to start your channel in the first place? I know you said it was to bring some attention to the game. Were there any other
So I
reasons?
said that in my first. So my first video kind of goes into it a little bit. I found that there wasn't, and I started finding more people going into the Nier content after I actually created my own channel. It was kind of a funny thing. Someone went into my comments and said, "Well, you do realize that this guy, and this guy are already covering this." So I was like, "Oh, oh, okay, all right. Well, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing then, so I don't look like a complete heel." But and this is not in any way a dig on anybody else who is doing Nier content. What I saw though is, okay, so this is the difference that I saw. I was in the War of the Visions community where you had some really enthusiastic people, really strong community, and these mobile titles live or die based off of the community. That's really what it comes down to. If the mobile title does not have a strong support community where people, and as cool as Reddit is, the plebeians like myself do not go to Reddit to get all their information.
Yeah.
It really, and honest truth here, I did not start my own Reddit account until after I started my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't use Reddit. I only use Discord sparingly. I just don't have, I'm basically a Gen Xer. And so all the Zoomers out there, I just don't have the same way of looking at things as they do. I would rather go and see and touch something. I'm that kind of guy. And so it was a necessity for me more to go into the Reddit because of the YouTube. Yeah. And I needed to do a better job of preparing myself because I'm very deficient in a lot of my own information. Most of my YouTube videos have at least one or two glaring mistakes in them. And it's just because it's just the way it is. There's a lot going on in the game. And I know that you'll understand where I'm coming from, even though I'm pretty sure some of my mistakes have been way more glaring than others. And I've had to go back and correct a few of them. But going into the Reddit community, these are the people who really get into the nuts and bolts of these games. And so I've started spending more time actually reading what other people have to say. Gotem, who just recently started his own YouTube channel, has been very active on Reddit for a long time leading up to this, and he's been providing community resources there. He just published a list of free gems and tickets that we get every month, and that blew my mind. We're basically getting a pity's worth of tickets and gems every month.
Yeah, that's
just
wild.
At the free-to-play level. That's wild. I didn't know that.
Like, where did mine go?
Breakdown. That's what I started asking myself. I started realizing I'm not being very frugal. I'm just kind of like jumping in and willy-nillying it. It's like Thelma and Louise. I'm just like putting the pedal to the metal and hoping that the cliff doesn't show up. So I guess that, well, I guess that what it really came down to is I felt like that there was a space that I could occupy that I could do. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind getting out and just saying stuff and occasionally making a heel of myself, but also trying to just maybe on occasion turn up the charm to a 7 or an 8 and just show people that, hey, look, we're people playing this game, we're having a good time. And sometimes, I'll tell you the reason why I put my own face on the videos, and I know that you have your own reasons for not doing it yet, but the reason why I put my own face on the videos is because it gives people, we communicate with each other through looking at the expressions on each other's faces. And that was arguably one of the greatest tragedies of COVID, aside from people dying, of course, but
Mhm.
one of the greatest tragedies was that we couldn't see each other's faces anymore
Yeah.
because so many
Yeah.
people were wearing the masks. And when a child can't see her mother's face, or when we're communicating with people for work or play or all these other things and our faces are half covered, it diminishes the power of communication. And I believe that when we are, and so the reason why I put my face on almost all my videos is because, and I saw this with other YouTubers, is I want to see, I spend more time looking at the person's face when they're talking in those videos than I do at what they're presenting on the screen. That's just me. Maybe that's not for everybody, but that's just me. So I realized that I was making a very human connection with these other streamers and YouTubers, because I was saying, okay, this is someone now I can put a face to the voice. I can see the inflection, the emotion, the excitement.
Mhm.
That's important, I think, when you get excited about something, because excitement is contagious. Even if something sucks. Like I can name any number of terrible movies that I've watched, like just objectively bad movies, and I can start getting excited and geeking out about certain aspects of them, and people will agree with me, just purely on virtue of my own excitement. They'll say, "Okay, yeah, you're right. That's a fair point. I still hate the movie, but that's a good point." and that's fine. That's totally fine. And I can still geek out over things, but again, that seeing that is contagious. I think it was something that was lacking in the community, because I was seeing it in so many other games. I'm never going to be one of those guys who does a pull and jumps out of my chair and throws Cheerios all over the place. It's just a role that I'm not putting a whole lot of myself into it. I'm just enjoying it as a side gig. It scratches an itch. It gives me a chance to better myself too. Honestly, it forces me to do research on things that I normally wouldn't have done. It's made me a better player, and I think that's important. And it's fun to just kind of see what people are saying about the game. And generally speaking, people are pretty upbeat about this game. The people who are playing this game have really not a whole lot but good things to say about it.
Yeah.
And I think that if that is to get out, then it's hard for a game to pick up new life after it's been out for a while. Usually the sex appeal of a game when it first comes out is what really gets people in. It's what gets butts in seats.
Yeah.
And games usually don't see a renaissance after that. It's very difficult. That is an uphill fight. But I think that's, if the developers keep doing what they're doing and keep pushing in the right direction, and we get a few more people out there with the critical information needed to really tackle those challenges, a couple people to get hyped about things, a couple people just to sit down and droll on like myself. And if we get that mix where, depending on what mood you're in, maybe I want to listen to Ziggy because Ziggy wants to just talk about his day getting poison ivy while playing Nier, and for some reason he's miserable and I'm not right now, so that brings me satisfaction. Maybe I want to watch Young Jesus because he actually has analytical breakdowns of one of the coolest modes in the game. Maybe I want to listen to Farplane because he does these great long streams where he interacts with people during the stream, and you can just basically tune in at any point you want and just kind of be a part of the community in real time. Mm-hmm. Maybe I want to, go to Cabbage because Cabbage has like this really deep insight into the Japanese culture and how the gacha culture works and all these other things. So he's like a crystal ball when it comes to predicting these things because he's seen so much of it. There's all these, or JP Bear, or whoever else, the god JP Bear, makes the game look easy. But anyway, so the more the merry. That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah,
just
everyone.
The more the merry.
Everyone has their kind of little niche, don't they?
Yeah,
it's do. Good. It's good.
I'm
fun.
Never going to be the technical, analytical one. It's just never going to be me.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm an anecdotal kind of guy. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I even will. In terms of guides and things, I kind of made those subjugation guides for myself, as selfish as that sounds, to try to learn about the game. And
Well, it's not selfish
funnily,
because it benefits everybody else.
yeah, funnily enough, like my scores went from SSS1, which I was happy with, and now I won't say what they are. I'm going to show them on the last day of the season, but things have happened in the last couple of weeks. Things have happened.
They really have.
Alrighty, well, thanks so much for joining me, and sorry for taking up so much of your time.
Yeah, whatever. I was the one doing all the talking.
This is super fun. And I love doing things like this, so thanks very much for jumping in.
All right, well, I'll be expecting to see a 15-minute supercut of this. Whatever hour-long exchange we've just accomplished here.
Okay, Cabbage, how you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
How did you first get into Nier Reincarnation?
On a whim. I'm always kind of keeping an eye on like Japanese mobile games that maybe have a good chance of coming out in global as well. Because what I want to do with my YouTube channels, I want to cover Japanese games. And in the case of a Nier Reincarnation, it was a kind of a staggered release where JP would come out before global. So I saw it as a chance to cover the game in English and then kind of get global players ready for the English language release.
Mm-hmm.
And Nier, haven't played a single Nier game in my life. I've watched a little bit of kind of runs on YouTube, but the graphics looked interesting. I always wanted to get into Nier, and I thought this was a good way to do it. And it turned out to be a really good game, so I'm still here.
Yeah, it's such an awesome game. Has out of interest, has playing Reincarnation made you want to check out the other games, or maybe even just watch playthroughs? Or
I don't own any console right now, and I'm not savvy enough to play computer games. But there's going to be the the Switch release later this year. I might pick up a Switch for that to play Nier Automata.
Yeah, and I saw there were some pretty cool costumes as well for the Switch release. The masks. I'm not sure if both 9S and 2B had masks and sort of more Japanese style outfits. Yeah, that aesthetic was pretty cool. Makes me kind of want to buy it on Switch as well. Throw away all my money.
Yeah. And Mama and Carrier are in there too. So.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah. You can use them instead of Pod 153.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Too bad Carrier had to be in there. He's a little bit of a a rascal, isn't he?
Yeah. He's an ass, but there was a recent JP live stream where they had the voice actor for Carrier, and I really like the voice actor. He's a very charismatic guy, and I kind of started to like Carrier after.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a bit of a personality, doesn't he? Like, especially when you compare him to Mama, I guess, who's more of a kind and sort of caring character. He's a bit more out there and charismatic.
Yeah. Can I say though that I don't trust any of the Carriers? However, not even Mama. I know they're up to something.
Yeah, they are definitely up to something. It's funny how they act all innocent. Especially, I won't give too much away about Papa's character, just in case you've only played one of his chapters. But to me, he comes across as though he's hiding something. He just seems
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope we can go back and play the first 3 chapters or whatever it is of the other Carrier, because I want to see more of Hina's story and Papa's story.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that finishes up. And then, speaking of the characters, who have you found to be your favorite character so far?
Before the game was released, when it was just trailers, my eye immediately went to Akeha. I like the One-sans. And then Argo. I liked Argo. You don't see a lot of kind of characters that look like him as like a main playable character in Japanese mobile games. So he was cool. It took me a long time to pull a 4-star of him, but yeah.
Yeah. He almost has a bit of a Viking aesthetic, doesn't he?
Sure, yeah. Or like Jason Momoa kind of looking thing. But this happens a lot with a lot of games that I play. Like the game will give me certain things just through luck, and then I'll enjoy using them because of their kit, like what they can do. And so this game kept giving me different versions of Leon and 063Y. and then I ended up really liking those characters and using them a lot. So
Yeah.
they're my current favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I thought Rion might have been your favorite character just based on some of your playthroughs that I've seen.
He's so good.
Yeah.
He's like the ultimate underdog, I feel like, of all the characters. And so like to see him do anything well, like feels good.
Yeah. He really is the ultimate underdog, just like even his character, like his kind of tragic character arc where he's been unwell and he's meant to take over his kingdom, I suppose.
Right. His dad doesn't believe in him.
Yeah. I think my character, who I've tended to pull like that, who I wasn't initially drawn to, but I just keep pulling, is Demas, actually, to complete the pair.
Oh, cool. Yeah, cool.
I think
Which versions do you have?
I have nearly every version, even though I haven't really tried pulling for him. Except for his Abyssal version, because I just thought that design was awesome.
Yeah. They're hard to get.
Yeah, I really like the angry looking characters for some reason. So like Bloody Lavania, Abyssal Demas.
Yeah, Lavania's so cool.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool with Lavania too. How they kind of take some liberty with his design. Like he doesn't look the same in each of his versions. Like
Yeah.
Like,
well, I've played a lot of mobile games up to now, and usually it's just like an endless stream of new characters, and then maybe like the main story characters will get maybe like one new costume a year or something. But Nier Reincarnation is a very small pool of characters with a lot of costumes for each. It's been really interesting looking at all the variations.
Yeah, I've only played a few gachas, but yeah, it's quite different, isn't it? How there's going to be over 10 versions of each character, I suppose, if they haven't already reached that. We're kind of just waiting for those chapter 2 or the second story characters to get some new costumes, I guess. It almost feels
slow rolling them out, aren't they?
Yeah, I was just about to say, it seems like they're holding off on going all out with releasing new costumes.
Yeah, they must have a long game plan, which is reassuring. Yeah.
And I think, sadly for me, because I just spent all my gems, I think they're going to release I imagine the new celebratory characters may include them.
I don't know. Well, they're re-releasing, or they're making available again the old anniversary characters.
Yeah.
They're still super good. And like on Japanese Twitter, I see a bunch of people pulling for them.
Yep.
And like, are these new anniversary characters going to be even stronger? It's
yeah.
Crazy to think.
I feel like I just got baited.
No, I am so tempted. Oh my god. One anniversary Gale or one anniversary Akeha would just change my account. But
yep.
Gotta resist.
Yeah. Yep. I just wanted Akeha like nothing else, and fortunately, I got her.
Oh, good.
And also because
I pulled some singles. I got another Demas.
Oh, nice.
Can't complain.
Yep, perfect. I still don't have Demas somehow. I really need him.
You're missing out.
I really am. And moving on from like favorite characters, have you got a favorite costume, either gameplay wise or aesthetically?
Well, very soon we're going to get the unit viewer, maybe this weekend or a little bit after that, with the 1.5 anniversary. And I want to go in depth on all of the costumes, but I like 3-star Akeha, where she's wearing kind of like looks like a tank top and then like loose pants. Do you know that one?
That's such a cool outfit.
Yeah, it's very different from all of her other outfits. And then I'll say this in the unit viewer video, but this is actually a ninja outfit. If she wore the black hood, she would look just like a ninja. They often wear those kind of pants with like the exposed side.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never made that connection.
Yeah. Very cool.
That's cool.
For Leon, sure. Let's talk about Leon. The thing I like about Leon is that a lot of his costumes draw from history. Like you got some other characters that are more sort of futuristic, and so it's not a ton to say. I guess I like New Year's Leon. Yeah, I like kimono too.
The New Year's outfits are very cool.
Yeah, there he is.
So, and I saw your Yeah. I saw your video too on kind of the knots, I suppose, or even was it for New Year's even? I can't even remember, but how you were showing how you were wearing the I can't remember the name of the outfit.
Oh,
But you're
the
showing-
kimono. Yeah.
Yeah, was it a kimono? Yeah.
Yeah, that was for New Year. Yeah.
Ah,
well,
there you
thank
go.
you for watching.
I find those videos quite interesting.
Yeah. I've been saying this for a while now, but I'd like to start another YouTube channel where I talk about fashion stuff,
Mhm.
but I'd want it to be good, so I'd have to put effort into it, and I can't get that far. I can't get
Yeah.
to that place.
What game mode have you enjoyed the most so far?
Ooh. I think Tower has always been one of my favorites.
Mhm.
The challenge quest that just came out yesterday, I guess it was. That was super awesome. That was
Yeah,
super
I
fun.
still haven't been able to finish it.
Okay, cool. One thing about that is I wish they made it like a permanent type of content, because some people aren't going to be able to beat it,
Mhm.
within the week or whatever it is. So that's kind of too bad. But yeah, that type of content, and then also the stray scarecrows, really
Yep.
really like that.
Yeah, I even though I play a lot of Subjugation, my favorite mode has actually been the Stray Scarecrows.
Yeah.
So I'm really
So,
hoping
like-
the new game mode is something somewhat similar.
I don't know.
It's gonna be
I don't
interesting.
know. I am super curious about the new game mode.
Yeah. There's lots of theories, but nothing's been
Mhm.
confirmed yet, I suppose.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard people talking about maybe it's going to be like multiple costumes of the same character.
Using them in one team?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah. The impression that I got listening to the developers was that it's a new way to play.
Right. Okay.
So like, I'm thinking like going into the cage, running around, finding people to fight in there,
Yep.
or something as different from Arena to Subjugations.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Like a totally new.
just a different way of thinking or team building, something totally new.
Yeah.
Is what I'm expecting, but I'm not really good at like creating new stuff or thinking up new stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll just have to see.
Yeah. And especially with these developers, you just can't predict anything they're
No,
going to do.
no. But like, you think about like when the game first came out, we all saw the battle system and we're all like, oh, that's pretty simple. How are they going to make Arena interesting? How are they going to make high difficulty content? But they've done a great job, I think.
Yeah. Yep. And it sort of comes from like Nier Automata and things too, that where you think things are going one way and they completely go in the other direction.
Yeah, I get that impression. I think these developers are very meta in how they approach making a mobile game. Even.
Yeah. Mhm.
I feel like they've said this somewhere. They want to make some kind of like permanent version of this game
Okay.
once the mobile game wraps up. I don't know. Might be a book, might be a console game, website or something. But yeah, they're gonna do something.
It'd be like very cool to see at least some of the characters stay for even as background characters in the mainline titles or things like that.
What if they did a console game of Nier Reincarnation?
Oh,
high hopes. But
I would buy that in seconds.
Sure. I'd buy a console for that. Yeah. And if it were like a full action game where you're controlling the guy and running around, that would be something.
That'd be so cool. I feel like they often reference old characters or have them show up in later titles. So I think there's a high likelihood we will see these guys again, or at least some of them.
I feel like the Reincarnation characters, they kind of have like maybe a bigger, what do you call it? Maybe they're more, what's the word? Maybe Automata fans are more aware of the Reincarnation characters than we realize. Like I see cosplayers wearing Reincarnation stuff, and that's very cool. That's super cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I actually saw one surprisingly in Australia where the game is still very, very niche over here. But where I'm from, I saw someone cosplay as Gale. And I was like, what?
How
People
did they
know
do the
about this
robot
game?
stuff?
They kind of did like They used
Like a
some sort of
sleeve, or?
foam, yeah, and just wore it over
Okay.
their arm.
Cool.
And it's sort of like painted in between the metal work to make it look like there was nothing there.
Nice.
Which was interesting.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I think it was the Celeb Gale outfit from memory.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I like high ponytails on my Renaissance. Sorry.
That's why Celeb Gale was my first character.
Good choice. Yeah.
And then she turned out to be good.
Yeah. Hey, Summer Leon was one of my first characters. It took like half a year for him to get off the ground.
Yeah.
That was a really happy accident. Yeah.
Yeah, now he's one of the best snipers in the game in Arena.
Yeah.
There you go. Are there any changes you'd like to see them make to the game?
Again, I'm not good at thinking of like new stuff.
Yeah.
But unit viewer, that would be great. That's coming. We know that's coming. I've been hearing some people in comments that they would like a Final Fantasy VII collaboration with Nier Reincarnation. That would be pretty amazing. Yeah.
That'd be huge. That'd bring in a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder how costly a collaboration like that might be, or
I wonder. Like collaborations, they do cost money for the companies to put together, and there are a lot of extra work to put together. But then it's also, square within square collaborating with itself. So it's not as hard as like...
That's why it's interesting. I'm like, would it be significantly easier or cheaper for them to do that? I don't really understand how it works. Yeah.
I want to say yes. They go to a different floor in the building or something.
Yeah. They just take the elevator up. Please, let us do a crossover.
Yeah. But, it was super interesting when they did the Final Fantasy XIV collaboration, and they didn't introduce any of the named characters. They just did the job costumes for the existing Reincarnation characters. I thought that was super interesting.
Yeah. Do you think... I remember that the developer for Final Fantasy XIV was very... When Final Fantasy XIV has had crossovers, he likes all of the characters to be kind of like free items, I suppose.
Yeah.
Do you think that might have...
That probably has something to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might be against gacha games on some level.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a great compromise to go with the jobs instead, and then go with the established characters. And then that actually even brought in, Final Fantasy XIV fans, because they saw White Mage Leon and they're like, oh, he's a guy? What?
Oh, that's funny. I think
Yeah,
it brought in a lot of new people. I was totally unaware of how popular Final Fantasy XIV was, which is crazy because it is wildly popular.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't know.
Yeah. It's kind of almost the primary MMO at the moment.
Oh, no kidding.
Especially with all of the controversy Blizzard have dragged themselves into over the years.
Yeah, they're good at that.
They're very good at that.
For a time, I was thinking of playing Diablo Immortal. Not even just for the game, but just to follow the controversy, to follow the drama,
Yep.
Because that's part of the fun of playing these mobile games, is to watch the community, watch the developers of the game, watch the industry as a whole. And yeah, Diablo Immortal would have been very fertile ground for that kind of watching, but I don't know.
Yeah, there was certainly a few
very negative.
Yeah, feathers ruffled when that game came out, especially with that trend. I know there was a trend going around of people spending like tens of thousands of dollars just to make videos and show that they did it.
Yeah. Well, those games are designed to, or these games are designed to accommodate those people that will just go crazy and go off.
Yeah.
But I think too many people in the community, they were saying that sort of investment was necessary or expected.
Right.
When it's not.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, so wild. I really want to put some money into this game just to support the developers.
Sure.
I'm not in a position where
I
I'm
feel
able
bad,
to.
but I'm not.
Yeah. But next year I will certainly be becoming a whale when I start working again.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for supporting the game.
I almost feel like I'm robbing.
No, yeah,
Oh,
I
you're
do
gonna find
too,
up.
but like I make videos to make up for it. I'm the PR guy.
more than makes up for it.
I hope so. I hope so. Yeah.
Are you playing any other gachas currently? I know you've played War of the Visions.
Yeah, that's on the back burner for now.
Yep.
How familiar are you with that game? Like how it works?
Just like I know the mechanics and what the gameplay is like, but I've never played it myself.
Okay. It's a mobile game that is very, very successful with its PvP. And it's releasing like all its units and all its content, and it's making all its money off of PvP. I'm not a super big PvP fan, which is why I'm kind of sitting out in the game for now.
Yep.
I've kind of gotten out of the rat race. But in November, they say with their 3rd anniversary, they're going to introduce new high difficulty PvE content. And that's when I plan on getting back in.
Okay. Yep.
Otherwise, I'm playing Magic the Gathering Arena. Very nostalgic. I used to play the cards when I was in elementary school.
Yep.
And that's it. I try to limit myself to 2 mobile games at a time.
Yep, I have the same rule because I get too addicted.
Yeah.
Spend a lot of my time. My second game is Punishing Grey Raven.
Ooh, I hear good things about that.
Yeah, I really like it because once you get through the main story, the time investment or the grind is very, very low. You can get through all your dailies in just a couple of minutes, really.
Okay, cool.
And it's very character focused as well, like Nier Reincarnation.
Okay.
It's the developer of that game actually is releasing a Genshin style game, like an open world RPG called Withering Waves, which looks like it's going to be the next big gacha style game, I think.
The style of the world exploration.
Yeah. Yep. With the exact same combat as Punishing Grey Raven, so it's going to drag in that audience as well.
Okay. Punishing Grey Raven has a more kind of complex battle mechanics. I hear that Genshin is not that complex. Is that right?
No, that's right. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. That would be interesting to combine those two then. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that's going to be popular, just given that I know it's going to be quite difficult, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I feel like the population of more hardcore game players is shrinking every year.
Yeah, I agree.
Dying off. Yeah, and then the money, I think, for developers is developed more for casual players. So I don't know. Like War of the Visions, that might be one of the last. Okay, I don't want to say anything. But it might be one of the last more hardcore games that Square Enix makes for mobile.
Yeah, it's certainly trending towards more casual, the more casual space, I suppose, too.
Yeah. Well, like even Nier Reincarnation has aspects of that. Like you can hit a button and you start, auto walking through the cage, and then you got auto battle and all that. So yeah. There's little concessions all over the place.
And like the vast majority of the player base are really just going to be going through that main story, aren't they?
Yeah.
And even probably realistically only the first few chapters as well.
Maybe, yeah.
So, yeah, it's funny how like we can get into all these complex challenges and setups, but realistically the majority of players are probably only playing through the main story.
Yeah. I want to say 80% maybe?
Yeah.
The population of like YouTube commenters and Reddit commenters and Discord commenters.
Yeah.
1% or less.
We're the hardcore people.
To be honest, yeah.
Outside of gacha games and Nerian, have you got any other hobbies or interests?
Oh, bazillions. I collect hobbies. I like to cook. The other day, my neighbor gave me a big sack of apples. I think I'm allergic to those apples, so I made a like a strudel kind of a thing.
Yep.
I baked a strudel and gave him half, so I like cooking.
Oh, that's nice.
Things where I can use my hands. I like shining my shoes. I like shoes too.
Yeah.
Clothing. Yeah.
The
maybe my number one hobby though is YouTube.
Yeah. Yep.
I kind of play games to fuel my YouTube hobby.
Yeah. Yeah. I only discovered this hobby this year, and I've been having. Well, actually, that's not true. I had a very small channel 4 or 5 years ago, which I loved posting to, even though it got no views, which I didn't care about. And then I kind of forgot about it, and then I was like, "Hey, why don't I do that again?"
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like me. My first 4 years on YouTube, I was straining to get 2,000 subscribers, straining to get 100 views a video, and here we are.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that you were cooking an apple dish too, because I remember in the loading screen, Mama, Mama loves her apple recipes.
There's like 8 of them in there. What's going on?
I think they should release a cookbook of apple dishes.
Yeah.
That'd be a funny, very niche piece of merchandise from Square.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw recently, but they released a little. They're going to release a music album. For Nier, and I thought it was strange the remixes they had of the original music.
I think we'd all prefer the originals, right?
I agree entirely.
Yeah. Arrangement, I don't know.
Yeah,
but I have a theory about this. They don't want to release just the music as is because they want to keep it connected to the gameplay or the in-game experience. That's my theory. Anyway,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, I guess finally, what motivated you to start your channel? Was it just to try making videos, or had you had experience in the past?
How much time you got?
Yeah, plenty.
I recently passed my 6th year on YouTube, and I was thinking of making a video, sort of like looking back at my time. But I guess I can talk about that now here. I started watching YouTube around 2010 because I moved from Japan to the States, where I'm originally from, and then I wanted to keep up on my Japanese somehow. And Japanese people are hard to find in America. So I would watch YouTube, and then there were musical artists that I liked, and I would watch the music videos, of course, but I'd also watch interviews with them to, for the listening practice, raise my vocabulary and all that. And then one time I saw a group do a collaboration with Monster Strike, that mobile game. And I picked up Monster Strike for watching that video, and then started playing that. Played that 4 years, 3-4 years, something. That was pretty crazy. And then connected to that game, there were a bunch of Japanese YouTubers covering that game. And what they were doing looked like so much fun. They looked like they were having so much fun both playing it and making videos about it that I wanted to try it. And I was very bad at it at first, poor lighting. My voice was very monotone and hard to hear. But yeah, I just kept making videos and trying to improve my delivery, try to improve my lighting. My lighting's still bad, but yeah, that's carried me to here. And then what I said earlier about maybe trying to do a service to the global community by covering a future game, the Japanese version, to sort of prep the global community. I thought that was a niche that I could fill. And yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. It's funny, we, especially in the Nier community, we all kind of have, all the people making YouTube videos have different, kind of a different niche or reason for doing it, which is cool.
Yeah, as we should.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we should all be one.
I can't do everything, and I don't want to do everything. So yeah, if other people can do it for me, that's great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember someone was asking me to make arena videos, and I was like, oh, I just can't do it. It's too complex for me. And it is, even though I've sort of been enjoying it recently, it's it's definitely one of my not my favorite game mode.
Yeah.
Kind
For me
of
too.
comes
I
and
have to be in the
goes
mood,
for me.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And
In the mood.
I think one way I've been I've been having more fun with it is doing those silly YouTube videos taking on the other
yeah. Oh, with
the other
the storytelling?
personalities.
I love those. Those are so good. I can't imagine how much time those take to put together. But yeah.
Surprisingly, they come together pretty quick. I just do a lame voiceover, and after
Yeah,
I've recorded some battles, just think of whatever comes to my head.
That's fine. That's awesome. Do it. I kind of keep it interesting by like trying different stuff, trying lots of different stuff, and like theme teams, you know.
Yeah.
But actually, lately, I feel like Summer F66X, she's kind of introduced a new way to play. That's really sort of revitalized my interest in Arena.
Yeah.
It's really fun using her. It's different. You think different than other teams.
I've been trying to get a few characters to levels where I can just do silly things like having having like a quick draw team, which is like 3 characters with guns who just try to auto attack one-shot everyone.
Fun. Yeah.
Or just weird things like that. But account's not strong enough yet to pull that off on anyone except for bots.
Yeah, that's the free-to-play experience. Everything comes a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Which is excruciating, and I hate it.
But it's a fun challenge as well.
It is. It's its own. It's its own fun. It's its own challenge. You know, and I can appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for chatting to me, Cabbage. I really appreciate it.
Not at all.
And it's been nice sort of getting to know you and Farplane and Ziggy, and
yeah, hopefully we can catch them next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be good if we could all, if at some point there was a lucky moment where we were all free to have a chat and just have fun with your game, I suppose.
Yeah. There's no like linking method through the game. You can't like seek, a PvP versus a specific someone.
Wouldn't it be cool if they had little guilds or something like that, or even just a messaging platform? Yeah. That's one good thing.
Reincarnation is kind of surprisingly like hands off with that kind of thing, which I think was like purposeful.
Yeah. It'd even be cool if you could leave little messages in the cage. Maybe that would encourage people to explore.
Oh, that's fun. Oh, like Dark Souls? Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of did that with Nier Automata. Like if someone dies at a certain point in the game, you can leave a message like "Beware" or like "Go this way," and you can troll people. Or
Yeah. Oh, nice.
It'd be cool if you could leave behind like a little ghost, like Mama, and like leave a message or something.
That would be cool. Yeah, I'd like that.
All right. Thanks once again for having a chat.
Not at all. Anytime.